Welcome back, everyone, to this week's Golden Wind Geek Out. I'm your host, Danny. I've got Ryan with me.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about episode 34, The Requiem Quietly Plays, Part 1.
Oh, man. Things have taken... Okay, look, I know this series tend to take, quite the amount of very interesting turns, but yeah, it just did just that again in more ways than one.
Yeah, like pretty much this episode was just, it's set up. It's just all elaborate setup for Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much. Much.
And honestly, there's even a lot to really dissect here because there's a lot of stuff that goes on during this arc. So I guess okay, how to explain Chariot Requiem? Chariot Requiem. Requiem is very, very odd, and it's plays very differently, compared to, every other stand that we see in this series. So, I know we're probably going to be jumping a little bit around here and there, but to at least try to explain to the best of my abilities as to what the fuck is going on. So, this particular arrow that they're going after is what triggers Requiem. So, and it's only, and as far as I'm aware of, it's only this arrow. All the other previous arrows that we've seen throughout the series so far, yes, they awaken stand abilities, and like what we saw in part 4 with Killer Queen Bites the Dust, it's like, okay, it might give a stand another ability, but it's not quite the same as what's going on with Requiem here. And it's really because this one arrow, if you notice, it's got that weird little beetle carving or something on it. Like, it's got that extra little decoration. That's the one thing, because it's the only arrow that is like that. Every other arrow that we see prior to this was just your standard stand arrow. So basically the idea behind the Requiem stand is when a stand is hit with this arrow, I think what it does is whatever, the user's greatest desire is at that time, the stand pretty much takes up that that ideal, and pretty much will do everything in its power to see it through. So in the case with Silver Chariot, given the fact that, Diavolo, made his appearance known, and, Polnareff is trying to get the arrow to Giorno and everyone, his greatest thing is, I have to protect the arrow. I cannot let Diavolo get it. So that's pretty much what Chariot Requiem is going to be doing all throughout this arc. All the crazy shit that happens, it's all a cracked out way to keep the arrow away from everyone. That's its main goal. So it will do anything and everything to make sure that nobody gets this arrow because it's trying to protect the arrow. So that's why you start out where it's like, okay, everybody go to sleep. Okay, now while you're all asleep, I'm going to go switch your souls now. So go have fun with that, kids. It's and there is more crazy shit that happens during this Requiem arc, but we'll get into that when we do. But, it's not, so Requiem, it's not just, let's just swap souls for the shits and giggles, it's that is a big part of it. But you have to bear in mind that with all the other future stuff that we're going to be seeing happening throughout this arc, just keep this all in mind. It's all to keep the arrow away from everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. It's with Chariot Requiem's case, it's okay, think of it as a more decked out Jigglypuff of the JoJo universe. Yeah, Chariot Requiem, if he walks near you, or if you're in the same area as Silver Chariot, yeah, not only do you fall asleep, but instead of getting marker all over your face, it swaps minds with somebody who is close to you while you're asleep.
Right. Yeah, so this is where we see that it's like, yeah, Giorno and Narancia switched minds. Trish and Mista switched minds, and my God, they had the greatest reactions. I mean, they had the greatest reactions in the manga, but you see it animated. It's like, clearly those two stole the animation budget for this episode, because, oh my God, the animations with Trish and Mista, like, freaking out was just fucking great.
何言ってんだお前
Oh, even Trish is talking in a lower voice.
He is actually.
Like, oh shit.
Oh my God! I have tits! Oh shit! Oh no! Oh my God! That fucking face!
Trish!
Oh my God! Oh God!
Apparently Trish steals the animation budget this time around.
Yeah, really. Well, shit. All right, we can't. All right. Look, we do not have the funds to give Diavolo his face. Like near the very beginning of this episode, we got to put that very little amount of money from his face into this animation because it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that being said, man. I was always curious as to how they were going to handle the mind swapping thing. You know, that's where I was like, you know, okay, because everybody's like minds are switched up, like, you know, are they going to do something weird with the voices or something? Like, you know, are they going to have like the voices swap? Like, are we going to be hearing like Mista's voice coming out of Trish or something? Like, I really didn't know how they were going to approach it. But I gotta say, I do like how they did it because it's like, you know, okay, no, it's the same. No, I mean, they're still using like those character voices, but they're talking differently. So it's like if you listen to Giorno, you know, it's like, yeah, he talks with a higher pitched voice compared to how he normally talks, and you know, because that's Narancia. You know, Mista talks with like a higher pitched voice because that's Trish. Meanwhile, like, you know, yeah, Narancia and Trish speak like in a lower tone because, you know, Giorno and Mista. But it's like, not only that, like, you also notice, like, you also really notice this with Giorno. Even just Giorno's facial expressions. Because, I mean, like, not for nothing. It's like, you know, Giorno is like Mr. Super Serious JoJo and everything all throughout this part. This is like the most, like, lighthearted looking or something. Like, he doesn't look nearly as serious as he usually does. And it's like, I think this is like the most we ever see him like not look super serious. And it's like, you look at that and it's like, yeah, that's because it's Narancia. It's not because it's Giorno. Meanwhile, meanwhile, Narancia, he's like constant scowl.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then it's like, like we said, you know, Trish and Mista, they had the best animations, best facial expressions. I mean, it's like they freaking nailed it with those two.
Yeah, they really did. Especially with like Mista's over-exaggerated, facial expressions while in Trish's body. It's like, okay, yeah, that is definitely Mista right there. There is no doubt about it.
Right. And it's like, to be fair, it's like, it's also really funny because it's like, yeah, when you see like Trish like freaking out because when she realizes that she's in Mrs. Body and she's like, oh my God, I'm hairy, I smell. And she's doing like all these really weird movements and shit. It's just like, God damn it.
It's like, is that what you really think about me, Trish? Well, goddamn.
Oh God. Yeah, and it's like I swear these two had like the best dialogue. It was like again, it's like even like Mista, like he's just like flat out screaming where where Trisha's saying, don't touch me, don't put your hands in my panties or anything, just if you try and touch me while you're in the body, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it's like, of course, Mista is like, don't worry, I'll be good. But I'm going to loudly exclaim what kind of underwear you're wearing and the fact you're wearing a push-up bra. It's like, son of a bitch, Mista. You just had to do that, didn't you?
Oh my God.
Oh God, yeah. So that was way too damn funny. But it's like, but yeah, this was practically the first half of this episode really was, just the setup for the mind swap. And then the second half is, it's just really Polnareff who swapped with the turtle. And Turtle is in dead Polnareff, so Turtle dead. So
yeah.
So sorry, Coco Jumbo, But yeah, so second half is really just Polnareff just kind of explaining, like, what the hell's going on with Chariot Requiem, that brief little moment in the past when he did see that something was going on, and, a lot of it was just explanation. And then the episode ends on, of course it has to end on a cliffhanger, but a pretty goddamn awesome one at that. And that's where we see, here comes Diavolo, running into the Coliseum. And, Chariot Requiem just happens to be nearby. So you see he's going for the arrow. And you're like, oh, shit. The boss is gunning for it. And yet watch him pop out, but sticky fingers. So yeah. Bruno swapped with the boss. So... yeah, Bruno woke up, but it's like, yeah, meanwhile, you got, Bruno's body hasn't moved yet. Yeah, Bruno's body's still kind of laying there. So it's like, so we at least know, okay, Bruno is in Diavolo's body at this point. But, and of course, that's how they decide to end the episode. So it's like, again, it's all set up. It's like there's not too much really to talk about in this episode outside of just the setup shit. So I'm trying to think, as far as like the episode itself, is there anything really that we're missing?
Well, I mean, in regards to the episode itself, sadly, I think we pretty much covered as much as we could.
Alrighty, so with that being said, now that we knocked all that out of the way, so let's get into detail about, the one big thing that, pretty much everybody got excited over, and I've been seeing everybody gushing over it about Twitter, and that is the changing in the opening.
Oh, yes. It's like, I remember, like, when I initially was, like, listening to, like, the full version of the second episode, and like halfway through, pretty much, they pretty much handled the opening kind of similar to like the third opening for Diamond is Unbreakable, but it was like nothing but like a lot of distortion with the music and all that stuff. That alone, like the moment I heard that in the song, that alone I could tell that, all right, whenever the moment we get formally introduced to Diavolo, that's when they're going to change the introduction. And they did. But the one thing that actually threw me off guard was how they used slightly different music. Like they didn't even use like that moment in this like the full version of the second opening. They used different music when we got into like the really big changes with this second Golden Wind opening featuring Diavolo in it.
Yeah. So again, this is kind of thing like we didn't know what to expect because they've always played around with like the individual stand abilities. So it's like when Dio summons the world, he literally stopped the opening just so he could strut past Jotaro. With during Great Days with Bites the Dust, I mean, it was like it was literally rewinding the opening. So I was always wondering, like, okay, how are they going to handle that for this one? It's like, because King Crimson can not only foresee the future, but he can even erase, portions of time. So does this mean, like, he's just going to, like, butt in the middle of the opening, done, and just skip into the next, just go right into the episode? Like, is he going to cut the opening in half? But no, he didn't do that at all. It's actually pretty interesting what they did with it. Like, because if you remember what we've been seeing in the opening, like, you see how, you see Doppio, he looks at the vision of risotto in the hair and stuff, and it's like, it's always been Doppio. So this time around when we see, Doppio, he grabs his head because he's getting a headache, and that's when he shifts into Diavolo. So it's like, okay, that change makes sense. And then we get to, like, you see the point where you see the blood that is dripping off the finger to hit the ground. And, you see, like, that brief little flash, and you see, oh, there's more droplets. Again, that's kind of, like, that's going back to, like, what Polnareff was showing in the last episode. That was how he was able to that was how he was able to see when Diavolo was actually using King Crimson. He was just watching the blood droplets. So, it was interesting because, like, it just went from a few drops to a bunch of drops, and then that's it, we just move on. But in this one, it's like we're actually seeing, okay, from the point where there's a few drops to the point where there's a lot of drops, what actually happened in between. And that's what they decided to show us. So it's like, it's more so, not so much the erasing time ability for King Crimson, so much as, like, Diavolo using Epitaph to actually see what's happening.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, seriously. Oh man, yeah. The whole similarities, how Diavolo was just strutting his way past Giorno, much like how Dio was strutting past Jotaro, like when they were messing around with the intro with their stands. Yeah, that was one thing. But yeah, the way Diavolo handled this opening, oh yeah, it was very, very well done.
Yeah, and I think from what I was seeing on Twitter, because that's like the one thing about this entire episode that I've seen everybody on Twitter. It's like I'm just seeing everybody just going crazy about this opening change. So from what I've been seeing online, so that moment when we see okay, time stopped, and you see, it's just Diavolo and Giorno within that frozen time. Those lyrics or something, or like those spoken words that are being said, apparently that is actually Italian. Which I guess makes sense because it even has Japanese subtitles for it. So it's like, well, son of a bitch, they actually found a way to actually fit the Italian language into this. Like, not just a few words or anything, but I mean, like, spoken dialogue, actually in fluent Italian.
Yeah. See, this correlates to what I was bringing up earlier with how they used completely different music around that point when they were showing off the really big changes that involved Diavolo. Again, I thought they were going to use the moment, like if you were to listen to the full version of this second opening, where once again, you hear nothing but a lot of distortion, implying that, okay, this has to be the point where Diavolo comes in and, messes with the opening and such. But no, then we get all of these Italian lyrics along with this even creepier sounding distorted music that was not shown in the original full version of this opening. And yeah, that's what threw me completely off guard. And at the same time, it's like, oh, all right, this is not what I was expecting. But yeah, again, seeing how this is the Diablo we're talking about here, this fits so well with what was happening at that moment.
Yeah, and I think even once time resumed, okay, so now of course, now it's no longer the shadow of the boss that we're seeing. It's Diavolo now that's sending out King Crimson to go and attack Giorno. I think even after that part, during that, when the rest of the opening just continues to play normally, it's I think they added more chorus to it. So there's a lot more epic chorus going on in the background. Just it actually sounds a lot more grander this time around.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's man, they're going all out. And honestly, this is where it's you know what? I'm just saying, it's okay, you know what? Fuck it. Spoiler tag here.
Oh, okay.
I would not be surprised if this opening changes a second time just to reflect Gold Experience Requiem.
Oh.
I would not be surprised if we actually see that happening. Because, I mean, remember, this opening ends with Giorno plunging the arrow into Gold Experience. So it's what if we get an extra shot or something, that showcases that or something? Because it's okay, yeah, I mean, you don't know. I mean, it's it would make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, it's especially considering again, considering the fucking epilogue, the epilogue that interrupts the goddamn ending. That's probably going to be the last episode, is that epilogue, which means Gold Experience Requiem is really going to be making its debut in the second to last episode. So it's you're going to have an entire episode, that we can play around with the opening if they choose to do an opening at all. I mean, for all we know, they might do just the whole episode, just be yeah, you know what, fuck the opening at this point, because, we got to wrap shit up.
Right.
No, so it's I anticipate, at least with the ending, I would anticipate that, we know Chariot Requiem got on the pillar finally, but I would anticipate anyway that, once we get Gold Experience Requiem, that's that's going to replace Gold Experience during the ending.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll be getting Requiem then.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm trying to think. It's unless if they actually still go with the whole pillar, at the, once we get to the very end of the final episode, and they don't pull it off how they've done it in previous parts, whereas they don't even show the usual ending credits animation or whatever. They just keep playing the rest of the episode normal, the ending of the episode.
Oh yeah,
and the credits are still rolling.
Yeah, that's most likely what's going to happen. So it's second to last episode that introduces Gold Experience Requiem. That'll probably be the last time we see the ending, and that's when Gold Experience Requiem is going to replace Gold Experience on the pillar.
Right. Yeah. That I can see.
Yes.
Because I mean, yeah. Technically, we did finally get a Chariot Requiem on the pillar after today's episode.
Yeah. So it's really that should be the last change or something for that ending, is just Gold Experience Requiem. That's really the last thing that it needs on there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we got Rolling Stone in there. So, we've had Rolling Stones since the beginning.
Oh. Huh. I...
Yeah, that's the sphere at the very bottom of the pillar. Yeah, that's Rolling Stones.
Okay, somebody tells me you brought that up like a long time ago, but after all this time, I never put that into thought.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I don't think I brought up I might have been something I brought up maybe off recording or something. Like, yes, yeah, I haven't brought up Rolling Stones yet. But it's like, we got Rolling Stones in the ending. Hell, we saw Rolling Stones was the first fucking thing we saw in the Fighting Gold opening. So it's like, so yeah, we've technically seen Rolling Stones since the beginning. It's just you're not going to know anything about it until the end.
Of course. It's like, yeah, of course you would save the whole Rolling Stones thing for pretty much the end of this anime adaptation, and not the actual ending. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I think that's pretty much it as far as the opening goes. So I think suffice it to say, next week. Oh man. Next week's gonna be rough.
Especially for you anime only watchers. Yet again, yeah, this is gonna be a rough one.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like again, more crazy shit's gonna happen, but anime only watchers, you guys are gonna be in for a shock next week.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, I'm already seeing people on Twitter. They're all like, "Oh God, we're not looking forward to next week." Yeah, we already. I mean, it's like, yeah, us manga readers. Yeah, it's like we're like, oh, it looks like it's gonna happen next week, and we're kind of not looking forward to what's happening because it's gonna go nuts up.
Yeah, be prepared for more feels.
Oh God. Of course, now I don't know. Of course, now we don't know. Okay, how is David Production going to handle it?
Oh man. Well, all right. Look, considering how they've handled the loss of Abakio, okay, no, I'm confident that David Productions will handle the next series of unfortunate events very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just curious. Well, I think if anything, I'm just curious as to like, what are they going to add, or if they're going to bother adding anything.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, of course, obviously, David Productions, they're gonna do a great job with it. But no, yeah, you're right. It's like that's what I'm wondering too. Like how are they gonna handle this one? Yeah. Like how are they gonna present this moment like near the end of this anime adaptation?
Yeah,
compared to the manga.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd probably put up another spoiler tag, prior to this, but fuck it, I'm just gonna talk about it in detail. So it's like, yeah, Naranja's death. How are they gonna handle this? Because if you remember in the manga, it's like, yeah, it comes out of fucking nowhere, completely shocks you, because you're like, wait, what? Like, you're just like, what the fuck just happened? And then it's like, again, it's like, yeah, when reality sits in, like, oh my God, you actually killed off Naranja. Of all people, it had to be the boy. So it's like, yeah. So when he goes down, because if you remember, it's like, he goes down, but, all this shit with Requiem's going on, so they really didn't have proper time to grieve compared to Abakio, where they did have time to grieve. They didn't really have that with Naranja. So that's something I'm wondering about. Is like, are they going to keep that? How are they going to animate, the shock and everything? Are they going to add anything? Like, yeah, how are they going to, what are they going to do as far as everybody's reactions to Naranja's death? But it's like, but even if you remember, it's like, because no one's got the time to grieve and they've just got to move on and start fighting and shit. I mean, it's like, yeah, it happened so quick and so fast. There was like, yeah, there's like, we got no extra flashbacks, no, nobody. I think Giorno's really the only one that even remotely says goodbye to Narancia. You know, because I think he says, like, you know, when this is over, I'll see to it that you're brought back home. And it's like, you know, he does like the really sweet moment where it's like, you know, he like blooms some like flowers off the wall or something to like drape over Narancia's body. So it's like, you know, very sweet. But it's like, yeah, like Jordan's really the only one that even remotely says goodbye. So that's where I'm curious. Are they going to keep that? Are they going to have everybody else say something? Are we going to see Narancia in the class thing? Because we didn't get that in the manga. So it's like, I don't know. Are they going to stick really true to the manga? Or are they going to actually go out there, try to elaborate and add a couple of more things, you know? Yeah, give everyone a chance to say goodbye to Narancia or not. Like, that's what I'm wondering about is like, yeah, what is David Production going to do there?
Oh, man. Well, it's like considering that they spend like this entire episode with doing nothing but the setup. I mean, I could be wrong, but I can only assume that should give the characters like more time to, you know, like say their goodbyes for Narancia and grieve for his loss.
Right. Because I mean, admittedly, yeah, they were kind of in a hurry with Abakio too, but they still found their way to grieve. And it's like, you know, it seemed like they had a lot more time to do it with Abakio than they did with Narancia. And it's like, again, I understand it's because they're in the middle of the Requiem battle and everything. So it's like they can't dwell on it too much because they are under attack. So I totally get that. But it is just one of those things where it's like, you know, yeah, Abakio got like this elaborate moment. When Bruno eventually goes, he gets an elaborate moment. But Narancia really doesn't. So that's what I'm just wondering is like, yeah, is David Production going to try to maybe elaborate that a little bit more, make his death a little bit more on par and equal to everybody else?
Oh man, yeah. I would certainly hope so, because David Productions have gone out of their way to pretty much add more attention to detail with many moments in Ventura Rayo, you know, compared to the original manga. So I would certainly hope that seeing as how this is the loss of yet another like main character on our hands, like yeah, I would imagine they would give Narancia the exact same treatment as Abakio, like at the very least.
I kind of hope so. Because that's another one of those things that's like, not necessarily like a criticism or anything, but it always kind of bugged me. That I was like, you know, but again, I think it's because I did like Narancia a lot. Narancia was probably like my third favorite character. So I was just like, oh, really? It's like, you know, he dies. That's really sad. It was really shocking. But it was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, Abakio got, you know, Abakio got more time dedicated than Narancia did. And I was like, really, guys? So it's like, in a way, I'm kind of hoping that maybe they'll do something like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, let's dedicate a whole 10 minutes to Narancia's death or anything, but it's like, you know, at the very least, like, you know, okay, maybe like, yeah, do something to showcase, like, you know, everybody grieving a little bit more.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like, hell, you would think out of everybody, you would think that everybody that would probably take Narancia's death the hardest, it would be Trish. Because, yeah, Trish and Narancia, they were like best buds. So, I mean, it's like, we even saw like in this episode, like, you know, it was like, yeah, when Trish was like freaking out about being in Mist's body, she immediately goes to Narancia, forgetting that, okay, technically this is not Narancia, this is Giorno in Narancia's body, but yeah, she immediately goes and cries to Narancia. So, I mean, it's like, you know, the two of them are good friends and such. And yet, yeah, in the manga, it's like, yeah, you would think out of everybody, the one who would take it the hardest would be Trish. And the manga really didn't emphasize that. So it's just like, yeah, I was like, really?
Yeah,
like,
I know. It's very
misleading. Got like really upset and took his time to say his goodbyes, and everybody else was just like, nope, we gotta go.
There's a Requiem stand on the loose. We can't stand here for too long. All right, let's go.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that should be next week. Which now I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to pace my now because we're on episode 34. We got 39 episodes. If the last episode is going to be Stone's arc, that means the Requiem bit is probably going to be about 4 episodes long. So I'm trying to think. So if Narancia dies, Narancia dies next week. I'm trying to think. Okay, when can we expect Bruno to finally go? Like, I want to say maybe episode 37. If not 37, then probably 38. Because I know it's like, because he dies near the end of this Requiem. Because if you remember, Ryan, it was like, Bruno pretty much sacrificed himself to stop the Requiem shit, which gave Giorno the opportunity to get the arrow and, bring out, freaking Gold Experience Requiem. So it's like, once Bruno dies, it's like, it's not going to take much long to wrap things up. So that's why I don't know, like, maybe he'll go down at the end of 37 or maybe he'll go down at the beginning of 38.
I was thinking like somewhere around like the third to last episode or the second to last episode. That's when we'll see the fall of Bruno. Yeah,
like where he finally goes down for. It's like, if you've seen in the manga, Bruno's not far behind.
Honestly, I think it varies on exactly how long they're gonna do the whole final battle between Giorno and Diavolo. Because if Dairy Productions somehow, makes the confrontation between both Giorno and Diavolo at a relatively decent length, then either they'll have Bruno's fall, be like 3 episodes before the ending or 2 episodes before the ending.
Right. I know a lot to speculate, and it's like I know a lot of things happen, all throughout this. Those are really like the 2 main events. I think at this point it's like, okay, we know it's coming, so just rip the Band-Aid off. I think that's kind of what we're thinking at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think. Is there anything else with this episode that we're forgetting?
No, I think we're good actually.
Alrighty, so hope you guys enjoy the setup. Shit's gonna go even more crazy from here on out. So join us next week for part 2 of the Requiem arc.
All right, see you guys then.